Good day, this is Ray. Today is Saturday, May 31st, 2025. For me, another day of learning and growing. Hope that you, your family, friends, loved ones are doing well and staying safe. Not quite 7 a.m., but I wanted to go ahead and post this video. It's the end of the month when I give my updates on where I am in my consumer debt payoff journey. And this is a big month for me, crossed a major milestone, and I'll talk more about that towards the end of the video. Normally I would give the big picture and break down over the years as to some of the reasons why I had so much consumer debt, but I think I'm going to create a separate video for that and then have a title card that links to that. And so let me just go ahead and begin at the beginning of this year as to where I stood with my numbers. So in January, my consumer debt was $44,991.55. I paid off $1,156.91. In February, I paid off $1,061.85. March, $1,048.86. April, $1,062.72. And May, this month, I paid off $1,047.68. So, you can see I paid just a little bit over $1,000 each month. At the beginning of the year, it was $1,100, but it's pretty consistent. And my goal, and I committed to this at the beginning of the year, was to pay off my last personal loan. And I'll tell you exactly where I am with the pace of that. So for the first 5 months of the year, I've paid off a total of $5,378.02. So how does that compare to the pace of last year? Last year, year to date, I paid $5,429.44. Again, this year so far I paid off $5,378.02, which means I'm behind by $51.42, which isn't bad, and about what I anticipated. After seeing the first few months of this year, because I'm aggressively paying down this loan, this is the anticipated pace for me. I'm happy with where I am so far. I would love to be further ahead, but that's just not the case. One of the challenges that I've had this month was an unexpected assessment, and that assessment was $1,640. As you can imagine, that's a big chunk of change out of my monthly income, and I had to set aside for that. Fortunately, because I'm good at budgeting now, it wasn't too much of a hit. I mean, it was enough of a hit that I probably had bought less food, but I was able to get by, didn't have to dip into my emergency fund, and that's that. So I just wanted to share that before I move on to the next part of my presentation. So my baby emergency fund is fully funded and still growing. I just noticed one of the accounts I have, the interest accrued this month by $4.10. So, it is accruing. I hadn't touched it. I'm fortunate that I hadn't had to touch it in a while. And I'll talk about more about the emergency fund later on. As a matter of fact, when I finish paying off my consumer debt, I am going to increase that emergency fund to be a full emergency fund and to cover at least a year's worth of expenses. Okay, so next I would like to show you, and I need to go to my slides here. Taking a look back at how my debt used to look. So I've showed this slide before. June 2020 was when I had $115,041.89. It was a combination of medical debt, credit card debt, debts on installment, loans, whether that was personal loans or 401k loans, and then student loans. And that's what it looked like. But now today, what my debt looks like, it looks like this. You see a lot of zeros next to the types of debt that I have. And there's only the two. There's the personal loan and the student loan. And that's as of today, and I'll talk more about that at the end. The percentages, how they break down. 15% of my consumer/non-mortgage debt is the personal loan, and then 85% of that is the student loans. And then, by the end of it, 100% of my consumer debt will be the student loans. Okay, so I'm trying to forget anything. Yeah, so correct my personal loan progress. I hit my target. I was able to pay down my personal loan by $825 this month, and you can see a chart in front of you of basically how I did it. This month, I made an additional payment of $447.69. If you look at it compared to the previous months, it's decreasing. The reason for that is because the balance is decreasing. I'm making those extra payments towards only the principal, and that's been helping a lot. Still have a little ways to go before the year's over. I really hope I can keep this momentum and get this loan paid off. Definitely happy with that. I'll be getting it off June with that personal loan at $5,775. Very cool. So I've got 2 more slides I want to show, and I'll be wrapping up this video here shortly. But taking a look back from the beginning, where am I today? So as of June 2020, my consumer debt was $115,041.89. I paid off a total of $75,428.36. My consumer debt as of today is $39,613.53, which means I paid off approximately 66% of my original debt. That's, of course, the milestone that I was talking about, is that I'm under 40,000. I can't remember when I was under 40,000, because I've had those student loans since I was in college, and it accrued a little bit more when I did a year in a master's program. But it is a huge weight on my shoulders. Excuse me 1 second, I have to pause. Yeah, sorry. I was saying it was a huge weight off my shoulders, but I still have a long way to go. It's still a lot of debt, but it's not nearly as much as when I started this journey. And that brings me to my last slide, which is probably something I'll introduce each time I cross a major milestone. So, beginning of my journey, like I said before, my consumer debt was $115,041.89. Now, when did I cross through the different, milestones? I've actually kept track of that. So it was end of 2020 when I was under 100,000. June 2021, I was under $90,000. November 2021, under 80,000. End of 2022, under 70,000. November 2023, under 60,000. August 2024, under 50,000. And then May of 2025, now I'm under 40,000. So would love to keep on going and just get down to zero at some point. That will happen. I've been fortunate not to go backwards in my debt payoff journey, but if that does happen, I'll be transparent about it and I'll share that. But right now it's been all downhill, and that's what I'm the most grateful for. I don't think I missed anything today. Like I said, I didn't begin off with a big picture because to make the video a lot longer, and I've shared it with so many other videos. But again, I'm going to have a video about those years of consumer debt. How did I get there, and then how did I tackle that? But if you made it this far, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications so you know when I post my videos. You can find me at youtube.com/@notinmybudget. As always, thank you for watching. You all take care.